Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 239 of At Odds with the Unbreakable Spirit.
I'm the Executioner, Daniel Travis.
I am Matthew Smith, aka the Unbreakable Spirit. We are doing pop culture this week because.
Yes. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Yeah, we are talking about our opinions on the pilot episode, of Lantern.
Yes.
Let's hop into it.
Well, my thought on since there was only one, my thought on this show is this seems to be like compared to like Peacemaker and Creature Commandos. This seems to be like I like how it's very comic. Like, it seems like it's a comic book show, but it also seems to be a lot more. It seems to be a lot darker than any other show we've seen in the James Gunn universe.
So far, at least.
Yeah, so far. What are your thoughts on and please, spoilers warning, what is your thoughts on this said episode?
I'm not sure about how I feel about the characterization of Hal Jordan.
Care to explain?
Well, for one, the TV interview is something that I don't think any superhero should do.
Yeah.
And that
That
doesn't
is
just go past Jordan. That's also something I think was wrong with the ending of Supergirl. The TV show, not the movie.
Yeah, that is. I mean, like, I don't mind when like superhero, like this is a whole other topic, but overall, like, yeah, Hal being a public hero, weird. I also find it a bit strange because I'm gonna need to do some research on this. That I find it a bit strange that that how in this universe that they're having Hal and John fight over one particular ring. That's a very interesting choice.
Yeah, and if you see in the future, or like the ending of the episode when John comes to see Hal's dead body,
If he's
that
even dead.
Hal at the dude, he
Yeah,
was in the snow with blood. He's probably dead. If you noticed at that point, apparently Hal was supposed to have had the ring, but it was missing.
yeah,
I feel like we're dealing with like two separate timelines of the show.
yeah. But I
We're
mean, like,
having what's happening in 2016 where John is training to take up the ring. And then we're probably going to have 2026 where he is searching to find the ring.
yeah. But my honest thoughts on because apparently Hal Jordan being dead is like a Tuesday in the Green Lantern universe.
Really? So
Yeah.
he's died on multiple occasions?
Yep. Apparently.
That's an interesting bit of lore.
Yeah, so it is. The thing is that, and this is just spitballing off the takes theories, that is, we don't know if that is like the actual Hal Jordan, or we don't know if that is the hologram Hal Jordan.
Well, considering that John was able to physically interact with the Hal Jordan, I would say it's most likely the real him.
I mean, because I'm only saying that because of shapeshifters.
Yeah, but still, if a shapeshifter was killed as Hal Jordan, would their body not revert to their normal form?
True, but now my honest thoughts on now I will say Hal being a bit arrogant and a bit overly cocky. Because we've seen in some versions that he can be overly cocky, but also still have a plan, even
Yeah.
though But I feel like Hal is.
I feel like that's something that rubbed off on him from Green Arrow.
Yeah, my honest. Because no, I will say I think that that family that Hal and Stu were visiting, I think someone on that show is gonna end up being Atrocitus.
Really?
Because in the trailers for this show, they have talked about the Manhunters.
Yeah?
And if you know the lore of Green Lanterns, that when Manhunters come, Atrocutus is always behind them.
And that was the Guardians that made the Manhunters.
Yeah, but either way, he hates both.
Fair, and we are having Sinestro on the show, I know that.
Yes. Now, my
Now, will
honest
Sinestro be green or yellow? I don't know. I
yellow.
didn't look that far into it. Okay.
Think he's already a Yellow Lantern.
Well, if
think.
Hal's as old as he is in the show, that would not surprise me.
Yeah, because I will say this, it's weird to me that this Lantern show seems to get a lot better of a reception than any other show in James Gunn's universe, which I find just kind of weird.
Yeah, tracks.
Because I mean, like, Creature Commandos, people were like, okay, we like that. Peacemaker season 2, people were like, all right, you're kind of having like I will say that my thoughts on what are your thoughts on this episode?
I enjoyed it. I mean, there's definitely a scene in there that I'm not gonna say what it is so we don't get demonetized on YouTube. Even though we're not monetized yet anyways.
Right.
That I would say is not safe for adolescents.
Yes. I know what you're talking about, but I think overall, compared to other things we've seen in the DCU, is that I'm just hoping that we could get a bit more, because we didn't really we got like the usual Hal Jordan origin story, but I'm hoping that they could fill in the gaps of what Hal Jordan, the kind of stuff that Hal has been dealing with as a Lantern.
I hope they explain why John Stewart doesn't have his own ring.
What do you mean?
Like, John Stewart as a Green Lantern should have his own power ring, but instead he and Hal Jordan are sharing a ring.
Yeah, because I think I remember something in the episode where it's just I mean, I think where it's like each sector gets their own ring, but that doesn't make any sense when you consider Guy Gardner.
Yeah, exactly. Unless he's a Green Lantern of a different sector.
That is
Why
true.
would he be? But then why would he mainly stay on? Like, yeah, Earth is his home planet, but he's not the Lantern of Sector 2814.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I also think that this show, I mean, like, because I'm hoping that they can get a lot more creative with what you can do with 3. And also, maybe I would like more scenes where we actually see the lanterns, see Hal or John wearing the lantern suit and not just being Green Lantern in civilian clothes.
Yeah, because we've seen the suit in the trailers. It's kept in some locker. And it's interesting that it's a physical suit. That's not something we've seen in most forms of Green Lantern media.
That is true. Most of the time it's because I know in some forms of media for the Green Lantern ring, instead of charging it every 24 hours, at some points in media, it's like charging like a cell phone.
So it could take a while.
Yes. Like it has like a certain lifespan before you gotta charge it again.
Okay, good to know.
I think, Doug, I mean,
Don't quote you on that, you were gonna say?
yes. Now, what I would like to see is, I would more like to see in this show is Atrocitus and maybe the Guardians in their non-human forms.
To be honest, if Atrocitus shows up, we're not sure if he's going to. I
No,
don't know
actually.
if he's been confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay, to be honest, if so he is showing up, then I would either I would say having Sinestro for a different season.
But yeah, true. Even though Sinestro is in this season.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying is you're introducing too many other Lantern Corps at once.
Yeah.
Like, how do we know it's not just Atrocitus showing up from the Red Lantern? What if it Lantern? What if it's Dexter as well? The cat that had one really, really horrible day.
Yes. That is the only thing in the universe that Atrocitus actually cares about. That is
The
a thing.
He's a cat thing?
He's a
I don't know what alien race he is.
yes, he's a cat person. So if you mess with Dexter, you're screwed.
Yeah, then I'm safe. I avoid cats because I'm allergic.
I will say, no. Do I like the fact that Hal Jordan is a bit cocky? Sure. I mean, like, he's cocky, but he's always right. I guess because he's just cocky because he's doing this for so many
Monk?
decades that he's like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that I could see that.
Because I'm glad they established like how long like how Jordan because I'm like I'm glad they gave us at least a piece of lore of like, hey, this is how long Hal's been active. I'm like, okay, could you do that when you get to Batman, please?
Yeah, because if he has Damien, he's gotta be active for like over 20 years or something.
Yeah, fair.
I could easily see like the DCU doing like this is a little off topic, but now we get back on it. I could easily see the DCU doing like some flashback Batman films to catch us up to date.
Yes, that'd be appreciated. But overall, because with this show being, it is kind of interesting, but also it does make a bit of sense that you're doing a detective kind of story for the Green Lanterns because we don't really see, like, that is something not really explored in the Lantern lore when you think about it. Because I'm like, to be fair, they are space cops.
Yeah.
You don't really see them. Like, Green Lantern lore doesn't really get like think about this, guys. There hasn't been a Green Lantern in live action in 14 years.
Yeah, and the last one was not well received. I still need to watch the extended version, by the way.
Yeah.
You still need to give me a bad mythology movie to watch.
Anyway, not important. But overall, is that I think it is interesting that we're getting like some more of a detective story because you don't really see the Lanterns in general being the kinds of guys that solve cases because you don't they don't really explore like, hey, they're not just big, they're not just like one of the most powerful characters. Well, yes, that is true. You don't really see them, you don't really see what they deal with a lot in media, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
What are your thoughts on said episode?
You've asked me that like 3 times. I told you while we were texting while the episode was happening. And I
Mm.
said it piqued my interest and I would be watching the season. Now if that would continue into season 2, I don't know. That would depend on how season 1 turns out.
Yes.
Or if season 2 even happens, because we know recently some DCU shows have been canceled.
Yes. That is now.
And probably a topic for the crossover episode after Heatwave.
Yes. Now, what would you like for Lanterns to give us a piece of so we know more about this universe's Green Lantern Corps?
I would like to see how Jon Stewart got essentially recruited, but I doubt we're going to see that if I'm being 100% honest.
Yeah, I would like them to explore Hal's history in the Lantern Corps, especially like if he has a long history with Sinestro. What is that Sinestro? How complicated is that history?
That's a fair point because from what I've seen in the this season on the on Lanterns, like pre HBO explanation thingamabobber,
Mm-hmm.
the Sinestro does not look like a spring chicken.
Yeah. I think that let's see. I mean, overall, the show, because like I said, and I haven't really said this on the podcast, but I'm going to right now, is that it's weird in my eyes. In my opinion, anyway, the pilot, sorry, the trailer didn't really make me intrigued, but the pilot was like an entirely different result. And what I mean by that is normally when you watch a trailer for a show or a movie for like a TV show, it normally like impedes your interest that you want to go watch. But I just watched it just because, like I said, I would give it a shot. And it gave
Yeah,
me two
and
different vibes.
I said I would as well because like we talked about this in the podcast a long time ago. Because I don't know if you guys realize this. This November will be our 5th year of doing
Okay.
this. But
Yep.
we talked about prejudging how that is something that grinds our gears.
Yes.
And that's why we give a show a shot, and if you don't like it, we're just like, okay, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yes. That's exactly it. I also think that one of the things I will say that I'm also hoping that they could explore more of, like you have mentioned, more of each character's life other than what they are currently doing. Like we need more background on their character, not just like one scene of their background and then you move on.
Yeah.
Because also is that most likely, and I've said this before, but most likely there are gonna be, I mean, there's definitely gonna be some creative liberties, like with all comic book media.
Yeah.
Now, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Depends on what it is.
Correct.
Let's see. I mean, I know I could go into spoilers here, but I don't really care. I think that the Green Lantern show, spoilers warning, is that I think that I'm hoping that this show does well, and because I'm hoping that, because from what we saw on how just training John and how randomly leaving to go to Nebraska is, I'm hoping they give us not just some creative, like dumb reason for why all these lanterns are, why everything is happening in Nebraska of all places. I'm hoping that they give us like, okay, there is something big going on here that no matter how much the people in this town want me to get out of here, be like, yeah, no, I'm not leaving because you guys are not equipped to deal with this shit.
Yeah, if anything, I would expect the show to happen in New Mexico because that's like an alien hotspot.
Nebraska? You're like, what?
But maybe that's why it's happening in Nebraska because New Mexico is too obvious.
Yeah.
I also hope we can see Coast City at some point.
Yes.
You know, Hal Jordan's hometown, the one that he protects in the comics. Like, come on, DC.
Yes. You gotta do a live action version of Coast City. And look, with Hal being the age that he is that maybe established because, and you know, when you show the 2026 timeline, is that established to us because this is comic books. You gotta make us understand, okay, how, because people don't stay dead in comic books.
Yeah, unless you're part of an origin story for a superhero.
Yes. So
Or Alfred Pennyworth, apparently.
yes. Or the point is this. You're gonna need to establish to show the fans us hard evidence that Hal Jordan is dead. Dead. This is a comic book show. People don't. I'm gonna need like really hard evidence that Hal is dead.
You mean aside from the fact that he had snow piled up on him?
Again, comic book universe. People don't stay dead.
Fair enough, I guess.
What are you hoping we get in said?
I want I want to see more than just like Jon Stewart's backstory. I want to see stuff from like Hal Jordan's early days, even if it's just him training on Owen with Kilowatt.
Yeah, we need more. Give us more background than just I'm Hale. It's like, hello, I'm Hale Jordan. I was a test pilot and a Air Force pilot. Here's a scene of my father dying. That's the only shot of my origin you get, and then we just skip like decades.
Yeah, we skipped from like I want to say what 96 to 2016, so that's 2 decades. And then we skipped 10 more years to present day for the final scene of episode 1.
I mean, like, I'm gonna be honest, that is a bit strange because you're all, and this is just another thing that I gotta say is that you're also gonna need stuff that happened in 2016 to make even more sense than stuff that happened in, like, the stuff that's happened in 2016 in the flashbacks. You're gonna need to make sense on why, that led to that so we can connect the dots.
Yeah, and I assume as the series continues throughout, or I should say season continues,
Yeah,
we are going to get more reasons of why A connects to B.
I hope. Because yep,
Because keep in mind, a majority of the episodes will most likely take place in 2016, I
yeah,
would assume.
yes.
But anyways, the timer did go off. That is all the time we have for this episode. We'll be back next week with the predictions for Heat Wave. But until then, follow us on all our stuff, YouTube, socials,
Etc.
link, website, links are in the description. We'll be back next week with more debates and discussion. But until then, the Executioner and the Unbreakable Spirit will still be at odds.